Hello Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for Fairy Tale 100 Years Quest, Chapter 14. As you can see, I am back home for the winter break, and it is the middle of the night, so everyone else is asleep, so I'm going to keep the video kind of quietish, but turn your volume up if you've been watching this channel for as long as some of y'all have. You know by now. But yeah, anyway, when we last left off, the gang or Natsu, Wendy, and Erza broke free from Kiria's control after Kiria went to bed. She went to free Natsu and Wendy, but they were still motion sick. But luckily, Brandish came and helped out and grew a rock on the ocean floor to break free of the water, to break the surface of the water, and stabilize the boat so that the Dragon Slayers can fight. We also found out about the fate of the Spriggan 12 in the aftermath of the Alvarez War. And meanwhile, the Jellal-Loxus fight was kind of diffused. They both went their separate ways diffused before everything got off the ground, and Jellal is trying to figure out what to do next. So, moving right along to Chapter 14, Rain and Shadow. Our cover picture is Lucy, Happy, and Natsu, all in Santa outfits, delivering presents to all the good boys and girls of Fiore. Brandish's powers put Natsu and the others back in action. Raise the flag of counterattack. We gotta scan later page. And then, okay, so right where we left off with Natsu, Wendy, and Erza, the Diabolo's ship is on a mountain now, and Kiria gets out of bed. What's going on? And she looks down at the leash where Erza's broken free. Erza's gone? Did she run away? And then the door opens, and Erza walks in. I have not run, and I will not hide. I will pay you back for the shame I have endured. That's what Fairy Tale does. And she brandishes her sword. The spell's been broken? I can reduce by half the strength of any magic I receive through my eyes. You're a fool for not taking advantage of the chance you had while I was sleeping. While you were sleeping? That wouldn't have been very much punishment, would it? Oh, please kick her ass, Erza. Please kick her ass. Meanwhile, Skullion is looking down at the mountain that the ship is now on, and he turns back. Did you do this? And it turns to Natsu and Wendy. Nope, I don't know why the boat stopped, but now that it has, we can move freely. And the seal stone? Erza took it off. I suggest not taking her so lightly. My, and he sighs, and then looks at them like rage in his eyes. I should never have kept prisoners like you alive for so long. I should have just turned you into corpses, and he summons a bunch of ash around him. Fire dragons roar! And, Natsu fire dragons roars him, of course. My ash will turn even flame to ash. Normally that happens only after everything's been burned up, though. And the flame and the ash meet in this gigantic explosion that covers the entire space between the two of them. Oh no, the ashes actually covered up the fire, actually. I misinterpreted that. My fire disappeared? Foo. And Skullion turns to ash. That's not fair! Natsu, my magic might work better against him. Sky dragons? She also seems to be dragon forcing right now. Wave Riser! And she creates this huge tornado on the surface of the ship where Skullion was. The ash is blowing away. Is working. It's catching all of Skullion's ash inside the tornado. Now Natsu! And Natsu jumps up to catch Skullion. Yeah! And slugs him. Grrr! And Skullion falls to the ground. Right as Mailmord pops up out of a trapdoor. What's going on, Cha? And Skullion lands right next to Mailmord. Little, injured, but not too much. We see a bit of a bruise on, his cheek. I'll eat these fools up right now. I swear it on my Dragon Eater name. Meanwhile, back in Magnolia. So in the main guild, it's Touka in the main guild hall. Touka is talking to Loxus. Thank you. And Loxus kind of brushes her off. Don't worry about it. And Bixlow and Ever snap at Loxus. What do you do? She's terrified. I'm pretty sure she just thanked me, but are you okay? And Kana and Free go to comfort Touka. Are you okay? Did he do anything to you? No. We'll tell Loxus a thing or two. Oi! And Gajeel watches all this. Uh, and we see a sinister grin from Touka, and Gajeel absolutely notices it. This rain is really something, though. Mira Jane hands her a towel. Here's a towel if you need it. Do you still suspect her? She just smirked. In a creepy way. And Levy, turns to him. You're one to talk. And she flashes back to, all of Gajeel's evil smirks. I heard some time ago there's a terrifying woman here who can command the rain. And she turns to Juvia. Here, in this guild. Oh, you mean Juvia? Yeah, that was a long time ago. Honestly, it was before we even joined. Who's that? Who's that? The third guy in the panel there with Max and is that Wakaba? I think it's Wakaba. There's a third guy I don't recognize who might have joined more recently. I don't know. But Touka turns to Juvia. You seem kind of damp, I suppose. Why you? Knock it off, Touka. Loxus stops all this. And Touka turns to look at him. As a member of our guild, I'll protect you. But as a member of our guild, I think there are some things you need to tell us about. Touka kind of looks down, uncomfortable. Everyone's got a few secrets, I understand. I won't force you to say anything you don't want to. But if you're hiding something that's a danger to this guild, you can't be part of our family anymore. And everyone looks at Loxus confused. And Gajeel, I think Gajeel is thinking about whether or not to invite Loxus into their little plot. But Touka just looks down and replies, I think I'll go home for today. Meanwhile, Erza and Kyria are going at it. Kyria blocking all of Erza's sword strikes with her, blade arms. The two of them, there's a little, lull in the fighting. I liked you and you were groveling at my feet, but I like this rebellious side of you, too. What's the matter? Weren't you going to punish me? She's strong, and Erza's, taking in Kyria's strength. What of yours shall I cut next? Your sense of shame might be interesting. I've already figured out your little hypnotism. The weakness of hypnotism-type magic is understanding. It doesn't work on those who know it's coming. Or how about cutting away your feelings for the ones you love, for the one you love, singular one you love. And that breaks Erza's concentration. Oh no. That broke Erza's concentration. Now we're gonna go right back to the fucking weakness thing. Not that! You look so cute with your face all red like that. Oh, and that's not what's going on. I was completely wrong. Alright. But Erza refocuses. I'm not letting her get off lightly. Concentrate. Besides, the one I love, I don't. It's not Jellal. And with that, we cut back to Jellal as his door creaks open. He's still where we left him last chapter, watching the rain. His door creaks open. It's gonna be Gajeel or Touka. Either Gajeel enlisting him or Touka coming to kill him. That's my prediction. I never expected you to come find me yourself. Touka, the White Witch. Yep, it's Touka. I was right. So you know who I am, then? I've investigated you thoroughly. Then that makes matters easier. Get out of my way. And Jellal just looks at her. Touka, the White Witch, pays Jellal a visit. What is her true identity? Fairy Tale versus Dragon Eater, the fierce battle continues next issue. And yeah, that's all for chapter 14. I really like this chapter. So Erza fights get a bit of a bad rap. Mainly because Erza tends to, overcome impossible odds and super strong opponents that no one could ever possibly beat, and she has every single weakness thrown against her. And this fight does not do a lot of that. This fight reminds me a lot of kind of the older Erza fights. Stuff like her fight with the samurai girl in the Tower of Heaven, or who did she fight in Erza Sensei? Her Erza Nightwalker fight. It reminds me of kinds of they're not Kyria isn't Kyoka, she isn't Eileen. She's a simple opponent with I don't want to say a gimmick, but a trick that helps her one up Erza the first time. But now that Erza's figured out the trick, she's not liable to the same trick. And that, to me, is much better storytelling than, Eileen or Kyoka or any of those infamous Erza fights. Even Jerome to a little bit, but who gives a shit about Jerome? Who gives a shit about Avatar? So yeah, I'm much more digging this Erza fight more than really any of the Erza fights. I didn't mind the what was her first fight in Tartar and not in Tartaros in in Alvarez when she fought the Agil at the beginning of the invasion of Magnolia. That fight worked for me. Eileen, Eileen, y'all know all about Eileen. So yeah, I'm really digging the Urzakiria fight, especially now that that whole your strength is broken plot is not at play. And as I mentioned last chapter, I really like bringing back the eye magic thing as a way to explain how she got out of that one. Um, and then with the Natsu and Wendy versus Skullion and now Mailmord, I do like the use of strategy with Wendy creating a tornado to like stop Skullion from running away, allowing Natsu to get a good hit. Of course, that fight is nowhere near completion, and we don't know how the two of them are going to deal with Mailmord. And of course, Lucy and Gray are on their way, and they'll hopefully get here before too long. So we should see more of them later on. That's really all I have to say for the Team Natsu part of it. On the fairy tale side of things, on the Magnolia side of things, um, there's not actually like there's a good bit that happens, but there isn't too much to really talk about, I guess. You know, we have the scene with Touka and in the guild hall. There's not a whole lot to discuss other than like Loxus is not as so it did seem in chapter 12 and in 13 that Loxus was very like very trusting of Touka. And it's good to see here that he's not just like blindly trusting her. He sees something's up, but he's also like, you know, Loxus's whole issue at the beginning of the series was that like he did not trust his guildmates and he was very much a lone wolf. Was a lone wolf with 3 henchmen, but you know what I mean. And so seeing him develop into this man who is who super like loves his guild has been a great development for Loxus as a character. But as we saw in the past couple of chapters, that does not necessarily be the best thing strategically. You know, it's not smart to just randomly trust this woman who you don't know and who is very clearly hiding something. It's good to see here that he's not just completely trusting. He's smart. He's a smart person. But yeah, and then we have Jellal and Touka confronting each other. Honestly, I was really hoping to see that be Gajeel walk into Jallal's house. Though I do admit there isn't really any way that Gajeel would know what's going on with Jellal, given that he did not see him. But Gajeel and Jellal are a pair that never really interacted in the original series, I don't think. If anyone can remember a time when Gajeel and Jellal actually like talked to each other or had any kind of interaction whatsoever, please fill me in. But like, given that Gajeel and Jellal are now both conspiring against Touka separately, I would definitely like to see them come together as a unit in some point before this arc is over. Just because they're both really fun characters, and they don't really. I'm curious to see how Gajeel and Jellal would interact with each other, and that's something that I never even really thought about before tonight. But like, I want to see it. So yeah, this was a fun chapter. It gives us a good bit to think about, and some fun fights for Team Natsu. So I'm going to leave this video off here. Hope you all enjoyed the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe, or fill out that straw poll down below. I forgot to bring that up at the beginning of the video. Winter anime reviews and the straw poll. Y'all know the drill by now. And as always, people, keep kicking ass, and I'll see you in the future. Bye!